Oh, Swears, welcome back to the channel. It is week 7 of our check-in. Ooh, just checking my hair real quick. Wow, getting a little out of control there. I just came back from Playa del Carmen. You probably saw me in my last one. I was outside with my daughter, trying to get it done, trying to get the check-in done. Welcome everybody to the channel. For me, just doing a quick check-in here. This is day 51 of my semen retention journey. Let me know in the comments below. How long are you guys along in your streak? Remember, it's not about the streak, right? We don't want to be white knuckling it. Remember, our job is to free ourselves from lust. And if we were to create this anxiety around how many days, what's going on, this and that, like that's actually a prison, and we don't want to be in prison, right? We want to be free, and that's the idea. So just a couple updates here. I was in Playa del Carmen. I'm in the process of an ongoing search to find the next sanctuary, is what I call it, a sanctuary. At one point in my life, I had some property in Costa Rica, and I was trying to build a training center in the mountains close to the beach where it could be like a paradise. And so this is not part of my ongoing search in Central America, but it is just kind of like a break to kind of take a look around and see what's up. Playa del Carmen, a little bit too touristy for me, but an amazing place, amazing food, amazing people. It was a lot of fun. I connected with a lot of jiu-jitsu people. I trained in a place called Gracie Baja, Playa del Carmen. Met some amazing jiu-jitsu or jiu-jitsuka, and it was a great time had by all. Yeah, I've been to El Salvador. I've been to Costa Rica. Lived in Costa Rica for a short period of time. I want to visit Nicaragua, Guatemala to see what's up going there. I'm very concerned. Of course, you don't want to colonize the area. That's really what's happening. It's like like Gringolandia. That's what they call Costa Rica. So many people have been there, but I do think that things are kind of going in a different direction in the United States, and perhaps it might be time to look around for some other possibilities. Not to say to move, but I've always wanted to create this, like, well, as I call it, the sanctuary, like a martial arts sanctuary, a place where we can train, a place where we can grow physically, mentally, spiritually. That's the idea. So took a little break to Playa del Carmen. Now I will say one thing. I did find a very inspirational place, and in a place that I would not expect to find. It was a place called Exsenses. It's part of this whole, what do you call it? It's like a small cluster network group of amusement parks, and I got to be careful because I'm not a Disney adult. Although I've been to Disneyland without a kid, I do have a 6-year old, about to be a 6-year old, and I wanted to take her there. And so, Exsenses, man, I would tell you, it was an experience. It was a really cool experience. Um, One thing that you did encounter there, like they didn't tell you anything when you got there, right? One thing that I did see, and it was almost like I would say, a spiritual experience, an experience of gratitude. And these are all things, of course, we talk about with SR, right? With semen retention, like things that we experience at a certain time on the journey. But in this time, imagine you basically are in a swim trunk. Like I'm shirtless, I'm in my swim trunks, and they take your shoes off. And so then what they do is they put you in a line. You watch a video first to tell you, hey, if you freak out, like wave your hands like this, and somebody will come save you, not knowing what I'm getting into. And don't go there if you have heart condition, claustrophobia, you're pregnant, or anything like that. Of course, all the liability stuff. Although I don't think they could build something like this in the United States because people are so litigious. They're so sue happy that they wouldn't be able to have something like this. And it's really sad because it was such a great experience. So I walked through this. Now you're walking through a cave, and imagine you can't see, and it tells you there's something that says, like, I can't remember the exact quote, but something about have faith, right? And overcome fear. And didn't know that I was going to experience gripping fear. So I went into this tunnel, and basically what it is you go through 7 different terrains blindly, even to a point where you go over like a rickety drawbridge. You don't even know you're on it, but you're like, oh my God, now I'm on a drawbridge. What do I do? And you have to kind of feel your way through it. Things are hitting you in the face, fake plants, you're getting water put on you. Sometimes you're walking through puddles of water, and there's like sound effects, like animals all around you. Some people are almost like intentionally trying to scare you. They're like, oh, not trying to grab you, but just like you're hearing things. And so you're kind of like filled with fear. And then you come to this bright light at the end of this tunnel. And imagine you're probably walking through there for 10 minutes. I ran into some different like sides of things a couple times, and you're kind of sifting through. You kind of have to even like part grass, like tall grass sometimes. And now you see this, you hear this beautiful music playing and this light, and you're walking, you're drawn to it. And at the end of this tunnel, as becomes more and more bright, there's a big sign that says, how does it feel to have faced your fear? That the mind can do more than what the body. And I'm paraphrasing all these amazing quotes, but I just felt this gratitude. Like I went through it and I was like, man, that was almost transformative. And I wish other people could do it too. And I do the park, I do this adventure event, whatever they want to call it. No justice with my words, but you have to kind of experience it yourself, right? And then you go through and you're in this paradise now. You're seeing beautiful flamingos, animals, iguanas, and they have all this in like this big cenote, which is basically an underground river system there. And you're seeing like paradise, and it's like almost like an out of body experience. And then you're just bombarded with different types of scents and smells like sandalwood, patchouli, and then like terrible smells of like flamingos. And it was just a great experience, and very transformative. And I'm very, very grateful for it. And so definitely check it out for yourselves. What a great experience. Anyway, I hope to continue my search to find the next sanctuary. I want to build like a eco-friendly, sustainable conservation permaculture type martial arts training center. That's always been my goal for the last 15 years. And I was so close to it at one point in my life. And of course, fortunately, I had a divorce in my first marriage and the whole thing fell apart. But I'm hoping that one day we'll be able to go and through and find it. Okay, next topic is it called attraction, right? When you feel a certain amount of attraction around people, opportunities, the opposite sex. Now, I'm not doing semen retention for attention from the opposite sex. And I go to the Reddits a lot and I see that, people are always like, "No, I'm getting like attention from women and this and that." And remember, that's not the point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to do this for physical, for physical strength, for mental discipline, for spiritual growth. And especially for me, I'm like one of the most aloof people when it comes to like attention from women. I have no idea that like it's happening. Probably for the best because I'm already married and I have a wife that I love very much and a family that really is the purpose of why I do everything. And I wouldn't want to ruin that for the world. And so all that doesn't really matter to me. It's not important. But I know a lot of people are looking to that type of thing. And so I would say that remember your why of why you're doing this. And it's important to understand that. But I have been attracted to a lot of different opportunities. Most recently there were some really big influencers online that connected with me that said that this what I'm doing is inspirational, and I really thank them, especially if they're on this stream right now. I really want to thank you because really those words and the support really keeps me going, and to produce content like this, and of course to share my experience with the world. So this gentleman Bill Maeda, he's like I think an over 50 fitness influencer online, and he contacted me and sent me a voice message, and it was very touching, and I really appreciate that. And so hopefully now I'll get to meet him one day. Another person that contacted me was the president of the International Kudo Federation, and he said he'd been following my work for a long time, and so he's really glad that our school is now an official Kudo branch. If you don't know what Kudo is, it's Japanese MMA. Imagine Japanese MMA in a gi with these fist guards, and it's an amazing sport. And hopefully to get my black belt in it and be a world champion in it one day. Remember, one of the things I'm doing on this channel is chronicling my journey to become the first Triple Crown world champion. That is a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and Kudo in the over 45 division. And I'm chronicling my experience to share everything with the world, and so that we can chase greatness together. And just make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you can continue to get updates on where we're going next, which will be the Pan American Games of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Orlando at the end of March. So that's going to be my next training session. And that's really now I'm going to starting my next 6-week camp and really trying to get strong and get ready for that. One thing I do want to say, as I said before, I started this session with coming back from a vacation, a training session out there in Playa del Carmen, and I consumed more sugar than I normally did. One things that I've definitely given up and I've cleaned up in my journey is my diet. You can see a little bit now, a little puffiness in my face from maybe I gained a few pounds from the food. The Mexican food is delicious. I ran into a lot of places. Hello there on the channel. Thank you very much for joining us. I tend to, try to plan a little bit of like a downtime vacation after a big judo or big competition. I just had a judo competition where I won 2 gold medals, and so therefore I wanted to go and make sure enjoyed myself a little bit, and maybe enjoyed myself a little bit too much. But you know what? You can't live like that. As we said before, we don't want to live in a mental prison. We don't want anxiety to come and put us in this prison. We want to make sure we are free. That is the idea. We're trying to achieve this freedom. And so I ate some delicious chocolate croissants, some delicious cookies here and there. I enjoyed a lot of different foods, and that's the ebb and flow. Everything, as I'm learning, is travels like energy, right? It travels in waves. There are peaks and valleys, and sometimes you're in the valley. And although I did not climb into the valley as much as I usually do, if you know me personally, I could eat tons of sugar. I could eat, um, you know, 6 scoops of ice cream and cake, and that would be me probably 5, 6 or 7 years ago. I could do that, no big deal. Now I tend to find that it affects my mood, and which is one of the reasons why I've really cut back on sugar. Now, natural sugars are fine for me, like fruits. Occasionally, I'll have like a little bite of something here and there, but I'm craving sugar a lot less. But when I do begin to consume sugar, like on this trip, I tend to be more hungry and I tend to crave it more. And so, therefore, it reminds me of why I've taken on this better habit of nutrition and cutting down my sugar. Now, I would say one thing that really prompted me to do this maybe about 6 months ago was waking up and feeling this feeling of dread. Like, oh, I don't really want to face the day, and that was odd to me because I was probably 100 on a 110, 120 day streak, and I was like, why do I feel like this? Like, really, I thought semen retention was supposed to make me feel things even more intensely, and I would be like, in an upward mood and really be motivated. All the things that people talk about when they do TRT, right? Like increasing your androgen sensitivity. One of the reasons why I'm doing this, and so um, I had to figure out by the process of elimination why I was feeling like this. One of the things I quit early on was caffeine. I read a lot in the Reddits, the subreddits of semen retention, that drinking a lot of caffeine could cause you to relapse. It makes you very anxious. It was making me very aggressive, overly aggressive when it came to a lot of things. That's why I cut caffeine out. But then later on, as I kind of went through this whole process and you feel the plateaus and everything like that, if people talk about the plateaus and the feelings of like, why am I doing this? And I felt like maybe it's got to be something that I'm consuming. And so I picked up this app called Yuka that was given to me by my wife, which basically allows you to scan everything that will tell you, if there are a lot of additives in it, there's a lot of sugar in it, a lot of fats in it. But you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt because sometimes like, oh, this has too many calories or too much saturated fat. And it's something like maybe like an avocado, right? Which is really good for you. So of course, everything in moderation. But sugar for me has always been a very difficult, slippery slope where I eat some and end up eating a lot more. Luckily, I didn't slip all the way down into there. But again, going back to the reasons of seeing everything travel in waves of energy, ebbs and flows, the reminder of why and the commitment to why you do this, the feeling of that. I kind of got up a few times and I was like, man, I feel really sluggish. I don't normally feel like I'm filled with as much energy as I usually am. Also because, when you're on vacation, you can't really cook for yourself as often as you do. I cook for the majority of meals for myself, so I know what I'm consuming. You go out to eat, you don't really know what they're putting into it. Although it was delicious, I do feel that like, what I was getting outside of my normal diet and things that I normally eat. Again, not to white knuckle it and feel anxious about, no, I can't enjoy this because it's not, it was important to kind of do again and feel like, okay, now that I'm back home, it reminds me of, why I feel so much gratitude that I can have this opportunity to prepare my own food and put me back on the path of training hard and getting back into my 6-week camp. So again, that kind of reminds me why not to eat so much sugar. And if you're eating a lot of sugar, perhaps something you might want to cut down on and see how that feels for you and your journey. And I guarantee you'll feel like you have a lot more energy and you feel like you're a lot more motivated. Your mood is a lot more elevated. And so these are a couple things. Again, I feel that the very positive things about semen retention is you begin to stack on a lot of different good habits. And just again, don't be overly consumed by it. Don't let it create a mental prison for you. Make sure it's your pathway to liberation and freedom, right? Because that's all we're searching for. So a recent post I've made on social media. I don't know if you've seen in my Instagram. There's been 1 or 2 additional semen retention posts. I don't really have control of when or what my handlers, I call them handlers, my partners in social media post for me. We normally do about 60 reels in one sitting every single month, and they randomly put them out depending upon what they feel is trending. This is one of the reasons why I have this channel too. I get on a live here so that I can share more in-depth thoughts that I'm having about things. Not that I'm very deep or anything, just more of like, things that I ponder about a little bit more and I want to share with everybody here. So thank you again for being a part of this. And if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, it really helps a lot of other people get connected to us as well, and helps share the journey. Okay. And I want to share a couple of comments that I got from it. And so one is, like, I'm doing this for the likes. That's all I'm really doing this for. Of course, we live in a world of social media right now. It's very unfortunate. I'm trying to cut back a little bit more on this. I can't say without any say like, oh, the likes do kind of make it so that it's like almost like a game. It's almost like a dopamine rush for you. But I'm not doing this for the likes. I'm just doing it to share the journey, that hopefully that it would help other people. Some people had commented before that they would like to know a little bit more about what I'm doing when it comes to this practice of semen retention and how it helps me achieve my goals of becoming the Triple Crown World Champion. So that's really why I'm sharing it. But although if you'd like to help spread the word and help support the channel, the likes and the subscriptions do help, but that's not the main reason why I'm doing this. Of course, I have a very successful martial arts school here in Washington, D.C. Please come and visit me here if you want to come train. And of course, my online courses that you can purchase to help support not only my content creation, but also my Triple Crown journey. You can get that on my description in the link below. But I'm not doing any of this for any likes, although I would appreciate them and other people might appreciate them too. Okay, so other things that were said. There's a woman on there right now who is insistent upon the fact that semen retention will cause prostate cancer, or she just says cancer. The cancer is a time bomb. And that there's been some Harvard studies about a 20% reduction in prostate cancer for those who ejaculated more frequency, particularly the number around 21 times a month. And that's also given a lot of people the green light to self-pleasure and to watch porn and waste their power on pixels on a screen. I think that's one of the very big problems with that study, is people take it as a reason to take on more habits that might weaken us. And that's the problem I have with it. I'm also, and also like everybody, oh, it's science. Oh, this guy doesn't believe in science. Well, you think science is also religion too, in the sense that it has the belief that it cannot be observed and it does not exist and is not real. And therefore, if you believe in a God and you cannot see that person and you cannot empirically prove that he or she exists, that it doesn't exist. And so therefore, it becomes its own religion in that way. I have a lot of conspiracy theories to the way the world works, and I think that they who are in power have every incentive to keep us weak and wasting our power to these pixels on a screen. And therefore, I don't put a lot of weight into the study. I also make sure that, who is really benefiting from this study, who has financed it, and so I would say that this person is bringing this up for one really big reason. A woman is bringing it up, and not just men. This is like the first time I've actually had a woman on the channel or on my Instagram really like be insistent upon this. And I've said this in the past, and that is using sex as currency. And I think that, unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, the lustful, thirsty men that go out there, they're looking for pleasure, for quick pleasure, right? And so a woman who is able to show us that they can provide that to us, that gives them this currency, that gives them this power. And so therefore, if you had more men who are disciplined, who are practicing semen retention, who have the reason why they're doing it, not because we're trying to be more holier than thou, or we're just going for these benefits, but because they know that they are getting benefit from it and it is helping them in their lives, then this would diminish the power that women have over the average typical man, right? The lustful man. And so therefore, it changes the power dynamic in it a lot. Just imagine a world where the majority of the men are protecting this sacred serum that they have in their body that provides them this power and creativity. Well, then, and you would be very less likely to give this up for seconds of pleasure or give it to somebody who you didn't care about truly, right? And that would actually force women to be more virtuous, not just, men too, right? Not say they're not virtuous, to see what they actually provide to you in a relationship. Like, is this person making your life better, or are they just making it so that you can feel these couple seconds of pleasure and then they can get whatever they want from you, right? Because that's where the world is is a lot like this. You see this on social media a lot, like excuse me, a lot of very attractive women who just have who have latched on to highly powerful people who are getting and extracting things that they want from them. And I don't want to live in a world like that. I want to live in a world where both men and women are trying to take care of each other, that we are looking for partners that better each other's lives. And that's to say that would make us better people if we were to protect this great power that we have. And women have it too, but they have it in a different way. Like they would say that the women draw upon this power. Like that's how they get their power too, right? Is to so you have to be careful about this. And I think that having this discipline, this practice, will make it so that the world can be better. And this is the reason why I truly believe that. That's why I want to spread the message. And again, you want to be careful about how you talk about it, because the more that you get on this high horse, right? Especially where New Age guruism and New Age spiritualism is, it's like very almost, what would you call it? Egotistical. Yeah. And we don't want to live in a world like that either, right? So it's really about sharing. It's about taking care of one another. It's about mutual benefit, these things that Jigoro Kano talks about in Judo, right? That's what you want for society, is mutual benefit, because it makes society better. So do what you can, warriors, spread the word, and make sure that we treat one another as best as we can. Now, I would also say this. I was talking a lot about the practice of semen retention and the discipline that it brings. And it's more important than ever before. Like you're seeing little communities and like even the broader world of mainstream be affected by lust, right? Like one thing, of course, in the jiu-jitsu community, we're having so many top teams be dismantled now by the court of public opinion, because the higher ups, the masters, so to speak, have been committing misconduct, sexual misconduct with minors. Like it's kind of crazy that it's all coming out right now. And I wish for justice for the victims. I wish for justice and punishment for those that are perpetrating. And I say that all the time. And I think that this is where retention is even more important, right? What if you had a world where you had leaders and people of power that were very well disciplined, that had the well-being of other people in mind rather than just their own pleasure and benefit, right? That would be a much better place. And so therefore, again, the reason why this practice is so important. Hello again to everybody who's on the channel. Thank you very much for joining us. And so again, like very, very important why this practice is there. And then, so let's talk about, let's step out to a bigger world for those of you who don't do jiu-jitsu. For those who do, it's a very sad time, right? We're seeing a lot of things happen. For those that don't, I encourage you to give it a try. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai martial arts, especially if you're doing semen retention, because you want to channel this energy into something positive and something that's going to help you in your life. And I think that also martial arts is a great vehicle for self-improvement and another way to help save the world. But as you kind of look out, you have the Epstein files, like all this information now that's coming out of all these top politicians and people of power that are connected to this honeypot, this ring of blackmail that's basically happened because they are also led by their lust. They are surrounding themselves with Epstein and his cronies and his network of young girls that are ready to pull you into this honeypot operation. And that's just where, again, if we had leaders that were disciplined, that understood why they did this for the betterment of their community, a betterment of their group, of their tribe, of however small the people they're looking out for, then we'd have a much better place, and also make us a lot stronger, right? And we're going to need that, because this is like one of the first things that you can corrupt people with. People of power, I've seen it so many times. You get so high up, and then you're untouchable, and you're surrounded by yes men, and then all of a sudden, like these temptations pop up, like somebody's like, oh, I have this and then that, and so therefore no one would know that you did this, and that just makes you all complicit and part of this is of course in my conspiracy theory of how people run the world. This is what they need to unify themselves and also continue to spread and proliferate this evil amongst the world. So it's very unfortunate that that's going on. I've been following this case for a very long time. Some would call me like almost like at one point in my life, somebody who just couldn't enjoy anything, because you're like, oh man, the world is filled with evil. But just pointing out the evil is not going to going to fix anything, right? We have to have the power to change it. And this is one of the ways to change it. I firmly believe semen retention and martial arts, vehicles for self-improvement and spiritual growth that can only benefit the world as it spreads along. But now, if you say these types of things online, you're going to be labeled as not only a conspiracy theorist, but a crazy person. Because like, what? There's so much, dude. You should enjoy your life. You don't want prostate cancer. You want this and that. Like I'm not going to hold my seed for more than 100 seconds. Everybody's almost like having a contest as to how much they can spill their seed, and it's kind of crazy that the world is this way. But I think that in order to find light, there must be darkness. And each of us has the divine light inside of us all, and if we're able to shine it as bright as you can and reflect it on other people, we all become mirrors for it, and we can help each other. So again, this is just another reason why we must all support each other and continue on this path. So that's all I really wanted to share with you. I had a lot of thoughts on the subject today. Let's also remember that although I'll say it in a code, although corn is free out there, right? You have so many different ways to access it. It does have a price, and that price is your soul. And so you just have to be reminded of that. And I would say that, I've seen a couple of Reddit things about like relapse, I said, everything travels in ebbs and flows. Maybe one day I will spill my seed, but I know the benefits that I get from it and the goals that I have, and now's not the time. Now is the time to be disciplined, especially when you see everything going on in the jiu-jitsu community, everything going on in the world. And so you just have to remember that, everything ebbs and flows, and don't be stuck in a mental prison as well. Look for freedom and personal liberation. That's really what we're looking for. And so what I do see as a relapse is for you to go back and watch corn and spill your seed to some pixels on a screen. All right. For me, it's been almost 8 years now. And I don't intend to go back to that. And I don't want any of us to go back to that, because that is a mental prison that we're putting ourselves in. I see a question here: was on your semen retention prior to you meeting your wife? If so, can you speak a little about that journey, purifying yourself before meeting her? Actually, all of this came about after I got married for the second time with my wife. Now, we were married for 8 years, and these were just all decisions that I made along the way because I just didn't like where my life was going. I'll say you, when I met my wife, I was a chronic weed smoker. I smoked every day from the moment I got up to the moment I went to sleep. I overdrank coffee, probably 5 or 6 espressos a day, double espressos. I ate a ton of sugar. I didn't eat right. I wasn't drinking enough water. I didn't get enough sleep. I also smoked nicotine with my marijuana. So I had a lot of bad habits there. And one by one, I decided to get rid of each of these vices. Oh, yes. And of course, porn. That was a daily use too, maybe multiple times a day. And I didn't like where my life was going. I didn't like the way that I felt. I was seeing I wouldn't say a psychologist, right? Who, of course, always wants your money and never really wants to help you, because that would affect their income. So why would there be a cure for anything? Remember that the medical industry, the best way for them to make money is curing, or is systematically treating your symptoms of chronic disease, right? And so I wanted to, one by one, get rid of this. And the first things that I got rid of was corn and marijuana and nicotine, because those are the kind of the same thing. So these are the 3 things that I wanted to get rid of first. And it took me a really long time. And I had a book of many times where I wanted to quit. So it was many years that I've been thinking of it. And, it was difficult. It was difficult. And each time I wanted to change something, I would tell my wife that this is what I wanted to do. And she's a very supportive person. And she said, okay, I support you. She also, at that time, smoked a lot of marijuana with me. She drank a lot of coffee with me. And so each one of these things were kind of counter to things that we enjoyed together. But I think I know I found a very good partner, and we are growing. We grow together all the time. As a matter of fact, like I can only think a handful of times the last times we've actually had big arguments with each other. Um, and that's a blessing for me because I came from a relationship that where I've had a lot of disagreements, and so therefore it took me a long time to get rid of all these things. But that was, one by one, I started to eliminate all these different things, and now I'm just trying to add or take away bad habits and continue to add on good ones. And so therefore, this is where we are today. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey and on this channel. And again, if you really think that this is has been helpful to you, make sure you like, subscribe, share it, spread the word. Again, I'm just doing this to make sure that I can share my experiences with everybody. And I'll continue to do this every single week. We come in and do a check-in every single week, Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So continue to come in, and I'll continue to give the updates. Next week is going to be week 8. So we're almost 50, well, I would say 58 days. And I'll continue to share these big milestones with you and share my um, benefits and changes, and also anything else that I'm feeling. The world's not always a positive place. It's like sometimes you don't feel good. I'll make sure I share that with you too. But as long as we're honest with one another, helping each other, we can only get better, right? So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.